kính thưa quý vị, và để tiếp tục chương trình thì Mỹ Hiền xin được trân trọng giới thiệu ông Julian Hill, trợ lý Bộ trưởng phụ trách về công dân và các vấn đề văn hóa lên sân khấu. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Julian Hill, Federal Member for Bruce, Assistant Minister for Citizenship and Multicultural Affairs. Thank you.
Chúc mừng năm mới.
Thank you.
That's a pretty hard act to follow. He was fantastic. On behalf of the Australian government, can I wish everyone a happy Tet? It's terrific to be here in Footscray, and particularly I want to praise and acknowledge the community's work in raising over $500,000 for Western Health. My mum was actually born in Footscray, and she was a nurse who trained at the old Footscray Hospital nearly 70 years ago. So it's wonderful to see that community institution being rebuilt in a modern form. We gather here this year for Tet, but it's a very special Tet because we're also marking, of course, the 50 years of contribution of Vietnamese Australians to our country. I want to thank on behalf of the government Vietnamese Australians for the contribution that you and your families have made to every part of our national life. I could not imagine my country, my state, my city here in Melbourne without the contribution of Vietnamese Australians. I come from Dandenong, and in the city of Greater Dandenong, I see Councillor Loy Trong over there, Kim Son Vu from Semvac, one of our greatest community orgs. More than 1 in 10 people in our council speak Vietnamese at home when they shut their front door at night. But whether it's the business, the arts, culture, entertainment, the law, medicine, every part of our national life has been enriched by your contribution. I also want to acknowledge my friend Dr. Tien Q, who arrived as a refugee about 1,000 years ago, because we're getting old now, mate, but also served as a Labor MP in the Victorian Parliament. And I joke that when Daniel Molino, my parliamentary colleague, and Tien left the upper house of Victoria, the IQ was lowered. Indeed. There's no other upper house members here, so I can say that. Look, the final thing that I just want to note is that whilst we have so much to celebrate, for many people, their journeys here were difficult. And people fled war, they fled persecution, seeking not just a better life, but a life, the right to live in freedom and dignity. And our country has been enriched in every possible way. Last week in Canberra, we had an event and there was a photo of a Vietnamese family on a boat. And the man had arrived on that boat and he pointed at every person in the photo and said, this one went on to become a QC, a King's Counsel, a senior lawyer. This one went on to become a doctor. This one went on to become a multi-millionaire businessman employing people. This one went on to become a nurse, and so on. And so really thank you very deeply on behalf of the Australian Labor government for your contribution. It also marks 50 years of the Racial Discrimination Act that the Whitlam Labor government introduced that laid the foundations for modern multicultural Australia so we can enjoy a country where everyone gets a fair crack at life. So I wish everyone a great afternoon. The weather's pretty awful, but hey, it's Melbourne. It might be sunny soon. And enjoy the entertainment. Thank you very much.
Well, we thank you, Mr. Julian Hills, who represents for the federal member of Bruce. Thưa quý vị, chúng tôi hân hạnh để giới thiệu một số những nhân vật quan trọng hiện diện trong hội chợ Tết hôm nay lên để chia sẻ và nói chuyện với tất cả đồng bào chúng ta.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I please introduce to you the Honourable Natalie Solomon, State Member for Sonobin, Minister for Veteran, Minister for Youth, Minister for Small Businesses and Employment. I would like to also invite Mr. Evan Mulholland, Victorian Legislative Council for Northern Metropolitan Region, Shadow Minister for Art and Creative Industry, Shadow Minister for Major Project, Shadow Minister for Multicultural Affairs, and Ms. Sarah Connolly, State Member for Laverton. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to you all. Before I begin, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of our veterans that are here today, and I pay tribute to your service and sacrifice, to the families that are here. I also want to thank the ADF personnel that were here, and of course my parliamentary colleagues, both state and federal, that are here. To the Senior Venerable of Quang Minh Temple, to all the volunteers that are here, community leaders, the President of VCA, and to everybody that represents our great Vietnamese community that is here today. It just highlights how important and how significant the Vietnamese community has been in our community. In every aspect of our life, you will see a twinkle of the Vietnamese community. I'm very proud, as the Minister for Small Business, to have acknowledged the contribution of our Vietnamese business community by funding, whether it's in Springvale, Richmond, Sunshine, St Albans, and now in Footscray, so that those precincts that have a very strong Vietnamese, I mean, where else would you get the best banh mi or the pho in St Albans, I've got to say. Now, as a local member of St Albans, of course, I'm going to be a little bit biased. And I can see my very good friend Daniel Molino nodding, because we have, we usually do catch up in Alfreda Street, St Albans, and we know how wonderful it is. I do also want to acknowledge the contribution of Councillor Cook Lam and seeing her today. And of course, Mr. B, I know he's one of our veterans. And of course, today we have seen the generosity of our Vietnamese community. I mean, it's not the first time that Dr. Pham and Frank and others have volunteered and supported our hospital, the Western Health, from Joan Kerner Women and Children's Hospital to Sunshine Hospital, and now we see that generosity extend to Footscray Hospital. Thank you very much for your fundraising effort, your contribution to our health system, but also your contribution during COVID. I saw how the Vietnamese community, together with Quang Minh Temple, were the first to put their hand up and support other community members during the tough times. The Vietnamese community has a heart of gold. You can always count on the Vietnamese community to be there side by side through good and bad, supporting our community. I'm very proud, and where is our VCA president? Can I see him somewhere? The president, he's over there. Mr. President of VCA. Now I know you know the special news, but as the Minister for Veterans, I'm very proud to announce that VCA will be supported with close to $30,000 for your commemorative service, together with the Vietnam Veterans Association, so we can celebrate, acknowledge the contribution of the 50th anniversary of resettlement. So thank you very much to the VCA. Yeah. And I look forward to seeing the commemorative service together with the Vietnam veterans who were here earlier on, led by Mr. V and everybody. Yeah. So thank you so much.
I speak Vietnamese to the kính thưa quý vị, vừa rồi bà Bộ trưởng Natalie Solomon bà vừa tuyên bố rằng sẽ cấp cho cộng đồng người Việt tự do và hội cựu quân nhân 30.000 đồng để chúng ta tổ chức vào ngày 26 tháng 10 năm nay một cái sự kiện, đó là kỷ niệm 70 năm ngày thành lập Việt Nam Cộng Hòa và 50 năm ngày chúng ta định cư ở tại Úc, và cái lễ kỷ niệm đó sẽ được tổ chức ở tại trung tâm sinh hoạt cộng đồng. Dạ đây, thank you Natalie, thank you very much. This is very good news for us. Yeah.
And this is, I do want to say, because we do have Nikki from the Australian Vietnamese Women's Association, who were also successful in receiving $30,000. And we will be travelling to Phillip Islands next month, 1st of March, for the commemorative service together with the Vietnam veterans as well in Phillip Islands. So looking forward to that. Well done for all your work, Nikki and Co. It's been fantastic. Put your hands together. Yeah. They will also receive commemorative service funding. So look, on that note, I do want to wish you all, you and your family, a very happy, a healthy, a prosperous. May we all be together and celebrate the 50th anniversary of all the contributions of our Vietnamese community. From my family to yours, Chúc mừng năm mới.
Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie.
I
speak a few words. Just stay here. Bà Natalie, bà cũng loan báo là bà coi như là trợ cấp cho bên Hội Phụ nữ Việt Úc 30.000 cũng để tổ chức cho một cái lễ 50 năm. Thì có lẽ là chúng ta xin quý vị một tràng pháo tay để ủng hộ bà Natalie. Bà Natalie luôn luôn gắn bó với cộng đồng người Việt tự do của chúng ta. Thank you very much, Natalie.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Và sau đây kính thưa quý vị, chúng tôi xin được trân trọng kính mời ông Evan Mulholland, Victorian Legislative Council for Northern Metropolitan Region. He's also the Shadow Minister for Art and Creative Industry, Shadow Minister for Major Project, and Shadow Minister for Motor Affairs. Please give him a hand of applause. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Chúc mừng năm mới. Great to see you all. My name is Evan Mulholland. I'm the Deputy Leader of the Liberal Party and also the Shadow Minister for Multicultural Affairs. Can I acknowledge all my parliamentary colleagues who are here and were here, particularly Opposition Leader Brad Batten and my Liberal colleague Trung Lu, who I'm sure you are all very proud of representing you here in the western suburbs. Can I start by thanking you, particularly in this portfolio of multicultural affairs, thanking you, the Vietnamese community, for the contribution you've made to Australia. Now, over 60% of new migrants to Australia start a small business, work hard to provide for themselves, their family and their community. I reckon that stat is about 95% in the Vietnamese community. Starting a small business, having a go in Victoria. I know that I can get a fantastic banh mi anywhere from Richmond to Roxburgh Park because of the Vietnamese community and the contributions that you make to our state. It is so important, and it was great to see Ha Nguyen before from the Victoria Street Traders Association. I represent Richmond in the state parliament, and it's been great to stand with you every step of the way because of the effect of the government's drug injecting room is having on Victoria Street and trying to boost the traders in Victoria Street, because we know you do a fantastic job. 50 years of settlement, 50 years of freedom, it's so important, and we know the harrows of escaping communism and coming to the shore of liberty. And I have to mention one of the beneficiaries of that is my colleague Trung Lu in Western Metropolitan Region, who in his maiden speech in the Parliament articulated as a child coming here by boat and what that was like. And it was the Liberal Prime Minister then, Malcolm Fraser, who allowed 50,000 Vietnamese refugees into Australia and started that settlement to what we see today, to what we see well over 140,000 Vietnamese people of Vietnamese ancestry here in Australia, right here in Australia. The Vietnamese community contribute so much to the state of Victoria, so much to our country. And I can't imagine an Australia without you. We all have an Australian story. There's a Victorian story and an Australian story. And the Vietnamese community is part of the Australian story well and truly. You contribute so much to our great state. I'm so proud of you all, and I'm so proud to work every day with the Vietnamese community in my electorate and now across the state. So thank you again, and thank you for all that you do. Chúc mừng năm mới.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ivan. Thưa quý vị, chúng tôi tiếp tục cho phần kế tiếp, trong phần opening ceremony này cùng với tất cả các quý khách để nói chuyện. Thưa quý vị, chúng tôi hân hạnh giới thiệu bà Huỳnh Bích Cẩm. Bà là cựu chủ tịch của Hội Phụ nữ Việt Úc sẽ lên để cùng chia sẻ với chúng ta trong dịp đầu năm này. Xin kính mời bà Huỳnh Bích Cẩm ạ. It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Cam Nguyen, who was a former Vietnamese and Australian Women Association in Victoria. I would like to speak to us.
Kính chào quý vị. Tôi là Huỳnh Bích Cẩm. Tên tiếng Anh thì nghĩa là Mrs. Cam Nguyen. Tôi là người sáng lập và kiêm hội trưởng của Hội Phụ nữ Việt Úc. 50 năm tại Úc là một cái mối quan trọng cho cộng đồng Việt Nam. Chúng ta nên nhớ ơn xứ Úc đã nhận bao nhiêu người Việt tị nạn, và nhờ thế mà cộng đồng chúng ta bây giờ đã hơn 100.000 người và rất là thành công. Tôi muốn nhắc thế hệ sau này là chúng ta phải nhớ ơn xứ Úc và nhớ ơn các thế hệ trước, các thế hệ cha mẹ ông bà đã hy sinh bao nhiêu công sức để lập ra một cái cộng đồng cũng như là cộng đồng chúng ta hôm nay. Bao nhiêu thành công là nhờ cái sự cố gắng và tài năng của ông bà cha mẹ. Tôi trông mong thế hệ trẻ cũng tiếp tục chịu khó và làm đóng góp nhiều cho không những là cộng đồng Việt Nam mà cho tất cả xã hội Úc và thế giới của chúng ta. Xin cảm ơn tất cả quý vị.